Have you ever felt lied to? What did it feel like when you discovered that people were deceiving you? And how did you course correct thereafter? These are all questions that led me to why I invest in gold and silver. And this is the reason why I call these videos economic evangelism. And I usually ask a question at the ending of these videos, but I'm going to ask a question of you right away so you guys can write it in the comment section now. My question to you guys is, what is your story and your journey as far as what led you to investing in gold and silver? My gold and silver stacking journey can be traced back to April of 2019. And that was the beginning of my own personal, or what I like to call a personal recession. And what basically happened was I was fired from my job while I was actively losing money and failing in my side business. And by actively losing money, I mean upwards of about $20,000 or so of my life savings. And during my 2019 recession, I tried my best to learn more and more and more about marketing and business tactics online to try and save my side business. And, I came across videos by Robert Kiyosaki, with him talking about starting a business and also talking about this stuff right here, gold actually. And he also did talk about silver as well. And pretty much every lunch hour, I would go on walks and listen to his YouTube videos while also discovering others that he recommended, such as Jim Rickards and Peter Schiff. So during 2019, I also began to notice some cracks in the financial system, such things as the inverted yield curve, for example, and China devaluing its currency in August. And by August, I was able to acquire a new job, which was thankful. And when I did acquire that job, I wrote down 3 goals for myself that I wanted to meet by April of 2020. The first thing was to pay off the remaining student debt that I owed. The second was to stack gold and silver. And the third thing was to build up an emergency fund, about a 6-month emergency fund, all by April 2020. And admittedly, I started actually stacking these guys first. I couldn't help myself. I mean, just look at them; they're like shiny. You know what I mean? You can't help but start stacking these guys. And they were really cheap to get into. So I started stacking silver in September when spot was honestly pretty high, but I thought I needed to act quickly during that time. And then after acquiring about 2 tubes of silver, I thought making a YouTube channel would be pretty fun, a YouTube channel about stacking bullion. And during that time, I actively built my emergency fund, paid off my student debt by November of 2019, and then got my first gold ounce later that year. It wasn't this guy right here. This is actually my latest ounce of gold. It was actually a Canadian maple leaf. But it wasn't until April of this year that I finalized my emergency fund, and I accomplished my April 2020 goal. And then also in 2020, this YouTube channel actually started to take off a bit, as more and more attention was, taken away from these guys right here and given to these guys right here. One of the important things to realize when it comes to stacking gold and silver is that as a media of exchange, they have millennia and physics on their side. We currently operate in the fiat system, which has only existed in this way for about the past 50 years or so. But, you know, that is also the reason why no one understands gold and silver. You know, think about it. Some of the oldest people living on this planet right now came of age during the birth of the fiat system. Not only this, but for many in the Western world, owning gold was illegal. So having firsthand knowledge and experience with the oldest form of money was likely not a part of many living Americans' upbringings. You know, so of course, you know, you're gonna feel lied to, like, you know, like I did, and honestly, like many other people do when they discover, gold and silver, because gold and silver is really money, and you know, these guys are just Federal Reserve notes. These guys are the true money. So, what we as bullion stackers know is almost akin to like a secret. You know, I mean, but the thing about me is that I don't believe in keeping secrets from people if I know it will make their lives better. And, you know, that is why I choose to call this channel economic evangelism. The Federal Reserve note, you know, these guys right here, you know, they're just a facade. You know, it's just paper. As you can see written here, the note is legal tender for all debts, public and private. You go on the Federal Reserve's website, they list it as a liability. These guys right here are not. Now, I do know that it's a facade, but I also know that they're tools. But the one mistake that I hope people don't do is save these guys for the majority of their life savings for retirement. Because if they start out, you know, let's say, for example, they're 25 and they say, I like what $1 million lifestyle looks like. I know what $1 million lifestyle can buy, and I want to save up for that by the time I'm 65. Well, by the time you're 65, what you think $1 million can buy will not be what $1 million can buy, you know, about 40 years after the fact that you decide to say, I want about $1 million in the bank account for retirement. Because let's say $20 million is going to be way different than $40 million. You know, just take a look at the printing presses down in Washington, D.C., and you'll understand why. But one of the reasons why people shouldn't stack this stuff, you know, Federal Reserve notes, is because you're going to constantly feel like you're behind the 8 ball because of the constant devaluation against your living standards. So, you know, this is how I came into the knowledge, so to speak. And as I asked you guys before, earlier on this video, I wanted to hear why you guys got into your gold and silver journey. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about, you know, or how you guys got into gold and silver in the comment section below. I really want to hear about it. I know we talk a lot about the gold and silver price and how gold is moving day to day, but sometimes we just need to pump the brakes and reassess and, you know, gather why we actually do what we do. You know, it helps to, you know, explain to people when they ask, hey, you know, Jack, Steve, or, you know, whatever your name happens to be, why do you guys, you know, why do you guys stack these rocks? You know, people are bound to call them rocks. First, you got to tell them, well, hey, this is actually a metal. If you look on the periodic table of elements, this is AU and this is AG. You gotta break it down for them sometimes. But, you know, I think it helps when it comes to educating people. And that's the basis of, you know, what I like to call economic evangelism. We have to assess why we do it so we can convince other people to do it as well, so they can save and preserve their wealth. All right, guys, thanks again for watching this episode of Black Bullion. A little bit different format today. Please give the video a like. Please subscribe if you're new. Thanks again.